Hey, welcome to this video. Jason Nyback here, the leading expert in the world at helping people get more website traffic and growing your internet business. Hey, what I want to do is I want to help you today with a big issue that a lot of people seem to have that can't quite understand, and that issue is how do you tell if the traffic you want to buy is cheap or expensive? It's a very common question. It's very hard because you don't want to get $5,000 into your traffic test or whatever and find out you could have never made money with that traffic in the first place. And at the same time, you don't want to scour the internet looking for penny traffic or whatever it is that doesn't exist. So you got to find a balance. And so what do you do and how do you do that? Well, the first thing you got to do is you've got to overcome the myth of this infamous penny traffic that's out there. Okay, in the old days of the internet, like, 2000, 2002, 3, 4, 5, something like that, way old, you could get really cheap traffic in terms of penny clicks, all that kind of stuff, because competition was less, the traffic sources were just still figuring things out, and so on and so forth. Now, there are some little tricks you can do to get some really cheap traffic, but generally speaking, that doesn't work. So you got to get rid of that myth. And then the second thing you got to do is realize this. Every single market is going to be different. For example, cheap traffic in a tight little niche market, like one of the niches I'm in the aviation market, cheap traffic for me is like 15 cents a click. If I can get traffic in that market for 15 cents a click, say from AdWords or MSN Ad Center or Facebook, something like that, banner ads, that's cheap. I can buy that and make 3 to 5 times my money on that all day long, and I've done that for years. That's cheap. However, I'm in some other markets, some mass markets, where if I can get traffic for $1, oh my goodness, that's like, back up the truck. That's the cheapest traffic I could possibly ever find. And so every market's going to be different depending on whether you're in a niche market, like a tight little small, say like a hobby market, like for example, one of my markets, teaching people how to buy airplanes, is an automated little market I have, right? And you can find out all about that, jasonnyback.com. Go there, there's a case study link, success case study. I show all of that on there. At any rate, so you can see how it is. But that's a tight little niche market. And so, 15 cents a click, that's cheap. I'm in some mass markets, a big mass market, $1, that's cheap. So it's relative to the market. Now, how do you figure that out? How do you figure if your market is cheap or expensive and stuff like that? The biggest thing is you got to figure out your customer and visitor value. How much money are you making for every visitor that comes to your site currently? If you get 1,000 visitors to your site this month and you're going to make $1,000, well, every visitor to you is worth $1, right? 1,000 visitors, or $1,000 divided into 1,000 visitors gives you $1, right? Okay, now so then you know that if you can get traffic for 50 cents a click, you can essentially double your money, because you pay 50 cents, your value of your visitors worth $1, you're going to double your money. So 50-cent traffic for you is like dirt cheap, right? Because I'm doubling your money is pretty good. Ideally, I like to go 3 to 5 times. So for example, I like to make sure that if my value of a visitor who's coming to my site is worth $1, I like to say pay no more than about 20 cents a click, or 30 or something like that. That's how you figure it out. Now, what if you're new? What if you're just trying to break into the market and you don't know what the value of a visitor is worth to your site? Well, then what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to run some tests and see what kind of data you can get. Spend a small amount of money, get some data on your market, figure out what traffic costs are going to be, what potentially visitor values are going to be if you're with your product, so on and so forth, and really just test it out. That's the easiest way to do it, and then you'll kind of evolve over time. But the biggest thing you just got to remember is that cheap traffic is going to be different for every market, and when you can figure it out, that's how you can dominate it. Because what I do is I get a benchmark in that market. Say I go into a small niche market and I do my numbers, I do my testing, so on and so forth, and I find out, wow, you know what? I can get really good traffic for 15 cents. Okay, how do I build a sales funnel that I can make 40, 50 cents, maybe even $1 a click? And oh my goodness, that's amazing cheap traffic, right? So that's kind of what you got to be thinking about, and look how you got to look at it. And then that way, when you do match your customer value, your buck, you get $1 for a visitor, And now you know that your goal, your mindset is, I'm looking for cheap traffic that's like 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, 20 cents, whatever, and I'm gonna back the truck up and get as much of that as I humanly possibly can get and really scale that business up. So that's what you need to do. Now, at the bottom of this page or wherever it is, the link, I want you to click that, because what I want to do is I want to send you a free video of how I was able to get over 1.2 million visitors to my niche market websites, tiny niche market websites, using an automated traffic system called the Snowball Traffic System. And you're going to be able to implement it too and hopefully get some really good results. So click the link below or go to snowballsecrets.com. Look forward to helping you out. Take care.